Hey everyone, this is Dan with another episode of my TSM videos. I posted a TSM video a couple of days ago to cover fundamental analysis. In that video, I said I was very bullish about TSM. Right before I posted that video on July 12th, I bought TSM shares at $121.40. TSM is at 124.39 today. I'm still bullish about TSM, and I'm now following up with this video, which is a technical analysis of TSM. Let's get into the details. Let me recap what I predicted last time in my July 12th video, the fundamental analysis. I did my valuation of TSM and came to the price target of $140 a share by the end of October 2021. And the day before July 12th was the Friday, July 9th. TSM closed at $120.65. Today, TSM closed at 124.39. Definitely, the stock has moved in the direction that I predicted, although it's quite a distance yet from my target of 140. To recap what I covered in my previous TSM videos, I'd like to repeat the competitive advantages of the company. First of all, it's the largest semiconductor foundry in the world, and it has leadership in the 5 nanometer technology, which is used on the current iPhone 12. TSM also produces semiconductor chips for Qualcomm, NVIDIA, advanced micro devices, etc. Basically, the who's who in the semiconductor industry. They are all dependent on TSM to produce their processors. And the company will be producing the 3 nanometer chips for Apple and Intel in 2022, way ahead of Samsung. The technology gap between TSM and Samsung, which is their nearest competitor, is definitely widening. And of course, the gap between TSM and Intel is widening as well. As you can see from the previous bullet point, Intel now is actually asking TSM to help them produce 3 nanometer chips. This is not so much of an advantage. It's just the environment that's going to be helping TSM, which is the global chip shortage that will last beyond 2023. And then TSM has made plans to invest $100 billion in the next 3 years. Now, this actually recently turned out to be a bit of a disadvantage for TSM. I will talk about it more in the next few minutes. In my July 12th fundamental analysis, I mentioned that there have been 3 main events holding down the TSM stock price. The first event was a drought in Taiwan, and I mentioned that that's been resolved because Taiwan has been getting a lot of rain in the last few weeks. So that's no longer a problem. And then also there's a recent surge of COVID cases in Taiwan. That's also under control. So another problem solved. Then the last problem has been the capital spending concerns. And actually, Morgan Stanley wrote an analysis a couple of weeks ago and downgraded TSM because of this capital expenditure concerns. Subsequently, I looked into the financial reports, spent a lot of time on them, and came to the conclusion that even though TSM is spending about $30 billion in 2021 on capital expenditures, I don't think that's going to impact the earnings too much. And that's why I'm still very bullish about TSM. Of course, tomorrow, July 15th, before market open, TSM will announce their second quarter earnings. And that's going to be very important. And my prediction is that they will again exceed the consensus estimate. And that's why the stock price will continue to go up. If you like what you've seen so far, I'd like to encourage you to click the like, subscribe, and notification button. That would encourage me to make more videos like this in the future. It will also help with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Also, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to my Twitter account, which is under the name Dan Market L. Whenever there's news development or when I buy or sell TSM shares, I will alert my subscribers by way of my Twitter messages, like this one here. On July 12th, I tweeted that TSM is breaking above the resistance of 121 this morning. I just bought more shares. And I also mentioned that this CapEx concerns are not really going to be a real concern. That's why I was so bullish about TSM. I'm still very bullish about TSM. Let's look into the charts. This is the 1-year chart for TSM. We can see that it's been doing pretty well. It went up 85% in the last year. Compared to QQQ and SPY, they went up only about 36%. This is a 6-month chart, not too good. TSM actually went down 1.6%. QQQ and SPY went up by about 15%. Primarily, that's because of the drought, the COVID cases, and the CapEx concerns. Now, in the last 10 days, because by then the drought situation had been resolved and the COVID problem had been contained, the only remaining issue was the CapEx concern. And that's why the stock price started to recover in the last 10 days. As you can see, TSM went up by 4.7%, whereas the broad market only went up by about 2%. Let's look into the daily chart again. We can see that starting from the beginning of March to the end of May, the stock price was following this downward channel. So it was not very bullish at all. And then it broke above that channel in the end of May and started to follow this slightly upward channel. And then in the last couple of days, it broke above that channel. In the meanwhile, we see this bullish buy signal from DMI and bullish buy signal from MACD. RSI is showing a little bit of overbought situation here, although it's not quite at 75 yet. However, when it does get between 75 to 80, like what's happening here, and here, I'll be very watchful. And if the price starts pulling back on a short term, I might sell some of my shares to lock in my profit. Of course, there's a big event tomorrow morning before market open, second quarter earning announcement. I'll be watching that very carefully tomorrow morning. Let's look at the support and resistance levels. For support, I see this line here at 117, which is the middle of the Bollinger Band, 20-day moving average. And then next level down is 116, which is a 50-day simple moving average, the blue dashed line here. Next level down is 113, the lower Bollinger Band. And the next level down is 107, this line here. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point anytime soon. For resistance, next level up will be 127, this line here. And then the next level up 132, and then 137, and then 142, the all-time high. Now let's look at the all-time high. It's 142.2, and based on that, I am adjusting my target from 140 to 142 to be reached by the end of October 2021. And of course, today's closing price is 124.39 cents. That means the price can still go up for about 15% by the end of October. What are my strategies? I will be buying more shares if the second quarter earnings per share exceeds the consensus estimate of 0.89. The stock price after the announcement, if it exceeds the 0.89 consensus estimate, it will most likely go up, or it might just go sideways for a couple of days, and then it will eventually pick up again. And I'll sell some shares between 127 and 132 when the price hits resistance and starts to drop. I will certainly keep at least half of my shares for the long term because I'm bullish about TSM for the long term. And then I'll buy on a dip. And then when it finally hits the all-time high of 142, again, I'll be selling some shares. Basically, sell high and buy low to do swing trading with about half of my shares and keep the other half of my shares for the long term. Again, I'd like to remind you to please click the like, subscribe, and notification button if you like what you've seen. And thank you very much for watching all the way to here. At this point, I'd like to remind you that I'm not a financial advisor. I share my stock trading strategies for educational purpose only. If you want to buy or sell stocks, you should make your own decisions, and you should definitely consult with your financial advisors before you do so. This is about the rest of my video for now. I will chat with you again in the next few days. In the meanwhile, I'd like to wish you the very best of luck with your financial investments.